That's probably enough post. Now we need wire. Well, I guess before I get started, I ought to explain what the plan is here. I've got this fence out through this way, making one paddock, and a fence across going to that lot. That allows them to get in over there and get water. I'll have their water available over here. I'm going to go get their feeders and move in here, this lot where I'm standing. And I'm going to go from this T-post across here to the board fence on the other side. That'll give, I'm not going to call it a paddock up here in this front. That's really going to be more of an alleyway. I'll set T-posts along this fence to divide paddocks out that way. So I don't know if this really makes a lot of sense. I'm going to have the paddock in the front, the alleyway in the front, so they constantly have access to water and to their feeder. Then I'll divide the rest of the field perpendicular to that, and I'm gonna have a set of reels on each end of that, and I can just move my gap from one set of T-post to the other as I go across to give them each new paddock. Hopefully that makes sense. Also, while I'm putting up these paddocks and dividing this pasture up, I'm going to be explaining how I determine where to put my fences, how big to make the paddock, and when I know it's time to move the sheep to a new paddock, and when I know a particular paddock has had enough rest and it's ready to receive a bunch of sheep. So stick around. I'll just kind of be doing that throughout the video. This first paddock that I put the sheep on, it was probably a little bit early to put them on this. I'm not sure it was quite ready, but they've been on it, well, it hasn't quite been 24 hours yet. And you can see there's still plenty of grass here. Some of the other side over there, there's not as much because that was part of my sacrifice area through the winter, so it was eaten down quite a bit. My goal here is for them to eat about a third of the grass. As you can see, some of this, you know, this bluegrass here It's actually starting to come up ready to go to seed. Some of this other fescue is still plenty tall. But there, let me find a good patch. Now if you look at this patch of grass, this little bit here, it's just regular 31 fescue. You can see there's a lot of blades in here. See if I can pick one off. See how the end of that grass has been bitten off? How they've grazed that off of there? They've probably taken about a third of that. That's what I want them to take. And when a good portion of this paddock has had a third of it gone, that's when I want to get them off of this. But then I have to determine, has my other grass had enough rest? Is it ready to put some on? And if so, how much do I need to give them? Well, I'll show you that in a minute. Well, I talked a minute ago about how I know if the sheep are ready for more grass. Now, let me show you how I know if the grass is ready for more sheep. Remember that blade of grass I showed you before? Let me get one here. A blade that looked like that. It had been bitten off. Well, I know this is ready for more sheep because I do not see any blades out here. There's one a little bit. But I really don't see blades of grass out here that show that they have been bitten off. They have all come back to a nice sharp point. So that's how you can kind of decide if your grass is ready. Now ideally, you'd keep track, when did you take the stock off of the grass? And how long did it take from that point to the grass to get back to a point? And once it's gotten back to a point, give it about that much longer for the roots and everything to recover, get a good storage of energy down in there. Because when that blade of grass is back to a point, that's when that solar collector, which is what a blade of grass is, it collects that sunshine. It is at its peak, the maximum amount of sun that it can absorb. So then it can start putting energy into the roots and energy storage down into the grass for regrowth. By doing that, that's why you have such good recovery on your grass, if you allow it to do that. So make sure that grass gets back to a good point, then make sure it's got time for the roots to store some energy down in there for the regrowth next time, and you'll have even faster recovery the next time you graze it off. But for now, let's finish getting the fence set up. Well, that's got the boys taken care of over here. I got their fence hot, made sure they've got water. Of course, there's plenty of grass over here. The girls back home, I've got the fence set up so I can rotate them through and keep them in some grass for at least the next week or so, rotating them across there before I have to move them to another field. I guess, to be honest, that's the major things I aim to get done today, other than mow grass. I'm going to spare you that. I'm not going to video me mowing grass. There's plenty of channels out there you can watch if you want to see somebody mow grass. So, thanks for joining me on this one, and I'll see you on the next one.